What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how Fortnite is changing the zones in Chapter 7 and how you might see a triangle storm rather than a circle. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like some more, comment down below what you think of this change, and there are some other changes that we will get to in the video. And if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So with yesterday's update, Fortnite actually added this triangle storm to the game, but the chance to get it was set to 0.1%. But this morning, Fortnite actually upped the chance of getting it from 0.1 to 1%. This still isn't a lot, but I did have it happen a few times today. I think I got like 3 games today that were triangle storms, and I played for about 4 hours. So not super frequent that you're going to be getting it, but it still shouldn't be something that you never see at all. Once you do get into moving zones, it will revert back to being a circle, though. It doesn't like stay as a triangle during like those small moving zones. So that is good. And for these triangle zones, I didn't really see that much of a difference as far as gameplay goes. Like, it still played out pretty standard, I would say. I definitely wanted to be towards one of the corners, though, as the game started to get towards the end game. Playing Edge of Storm in the end game is typically pretty good because you limit the amount of angles you're exposed to, and being in the corner like that kind of cuts off a lot of the area that could maybe see you, and that would be something that's good. It might be, you know, a bit more of a contested point than it would otherwise be, but as I said, the game kind of played out pretty standard to me with these triangle storms. Same thing with the 7 storms we had in the Simpsons season. I didn't see like a drastic difference in how the game played during that. Like, it's still Fortnite. I ran around and fought people, got eliminations, and then eventually the game was over. So this changing the storm shape thing, I haven't found to be like a drastic different from a gameplay perspective. There were some other minor changes they did make recently, but before we get into that, I wanted to talk about ranked this season, because I have thought about making a series going from unranked to Unreal, like how I have done in the past. And with Epic going on winter break soon, this would be a good time for me to make those videos, because there won't be any updates for that period of time when Epic is on break, and the updates are kind of the biggest complication for me when it comes to making those videos, because I don't want to like play too much and then release old gameplay because there's updates by the time it gets out. Either way, thought about doing it this season, but in Chapter 7, Fortnite has made it to where everyone starts out at Bronze 1 when they play a ranked match, rather than typically you would start at like Gold or Plat if you're someone who's been Unreal in the past. And the reason why this matters to me is because if I'm making these videos going through all the ranks, the gold or the bronze and silver games have an extreme amount of AI players in them, to the point where like it is so much easier than public matches that I don't really think it's worth posting. I think bronze matches have like 85 AI in it. And the way Fortnite ranked works, you're kind of capped on how much % you can make per game. So even if you get like a 30 kill win, you're only going to get like a level or so from that. So I've thought about doing this again, but just starting the videos at gold. That way they're at least somewhat interesting, rather than posting the bronze and silver matches and having that be like, I don't know, between like 2 and 5 videos of just like, you know, nothingness. I feel like those early ranks are so body that I don't really want to post them. But let me know what you think of that in the comments below. If I did make that, would you mind if I just started out at gold? That way the games were a bit more interesting from the get-go. Anytime I've done a series like this, the early on videos get the most views. Like the first few videos in a series typically do the best. So I don't want the best performing videos to just be, you know, straight bot matches. And that's why I would rather just start at gold. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. The other changes that happened today is that the bosses were actually nerfed, which is incredibly surprising to me, because I've thought these were pretty bad for all of Chapter 7. And not really worth taking at all. So the bosses will no longer have an overshield and 0 build mode. They will have their boosted HP and shield still, where they have like a little bit more health than the average player, but they no longer have an overshield on top of that. And this really nerfs it in 0 build, because that means every shot you hit on the person is actually going to matter. At times in 0 build, there might be moments where you can get shots on somebody, but if you get like less than 50 damage and you're not really going to be able to push off it or anything, it doesn't really matter, because their overshield's just going to regen. But now any shot you do to the boss will actually matter to them, because they don't have an overshield to be that kind of like buffer before they start taking actual lasting damage. So they have less HP overall, and also now every shot you hit on them is actually going to matter. Another change they made is that you can now only have 1 player per team become a boss. So if somebody in your squad is already playing as one of those boss characters, you won't be able to pick up the item and transform into the boss. I guess it just doesn't let you, since only one player per squad or one player per team can become a boss. And these aren't the biggest nerfs. I think the overshield one is pretty significant for zero build, but as I said, I feel like the bosses were kind of a downside to become anyways, because broadcasting your location like that and putting that health bar above your head, letting everybody know exactly how much HP you are, how much HP you have, and where exactly you are, that was just a negative that vastly outweighed the added HP and the ability you got. And so these nerfs don't completely ruin it, but it's something that was already kind of ruined in my opinion. So that's just surprising to me. Fortnite also made some adjustments to rolling in this update, which I think a lot of people are going to like, because I've seen a lot of complaints about this. Now the distance you get from rolling when you're knocked on the ground, that has been reduced. So you don't get as far every single time you roll, but you will now also consume stamina just from getting knocked. And it takes stamina to do a roll. So getting knocked and, you know, having that take away some of your stamina will leave you with less stamina to roll with. So you're going to have less rolls before you have to actually stop and wait for your stamina to regen. And there is now actually a delay before you are able to roll after you get knocked. So you're not going to be able to roll right away. You're not going to be able to roll as many times. And then the distance you get from rolling is also not going to be as far. So they nerfed the rolling pretty significantly, I think. And if you are someone who was unhappy that every time you knocked somebody, they were just kind of like flailing around all over the ground, that should be a bit less of a factor with these changes in place. And then one final change is going to be to the Hush Mythic Deadeye AR. This was slightly nerfed. So the body damage on this Mythic was reduced by 1, but the headshot multiplier was also increased so that the headshot damage would stay the same as it was prior to the update. The way headshots work is you get a multiplier for doing a headshot. So the base damage times that multiplier results in your headshot damage. So upping the headshot multiplier with the reduced damage to make the headshot damage stay the same. They only wanted to nerf body shots on the Mythic, and this is for the Mythic exclusively. Does not affect the regular Deadeye AR. It's just the Hush's one. Kind of a strange change, came out of nowhere, but body shots slightly worse on the Deadeye Mythic. Headshots still the same. Not really that big of a change one way or the other to me. I still would much rather have this Mythic version than any of the other versions because it's just better. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like some more, comment down below what you think of these changes, and if I was to make a ranked series, do you even want to see the bronze and silver games? I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Is this tree in? Bunkers again. I overthrew it. Oh, it does go to a circle. Bro, what is this man doing? Like, bro. GG's, man. Oh, shoot. 6-7.